Here we go again. This is part 2 of my career consultation with Daryl Council. He's the owner of, was it Dragon?
Fly Dragon Arts.
Fly Dragon Arts. That's
DCJ Paints.
What?
At DCJ Paints, Instagram.
Tell these folks right here.
At DCJ Paints on Instagram.
All right.
You can find Fly Dragon Arts, hashtag.
Really talented brother. He brought some art in here and gave me something really nice, very kind and very appreciative. And that's spectacular. I know where that's going. I'm gonna get a beach house, brother. That's a whole nother story, right?
Yeah, that's
tight.
That's my goal.
I like that.
Beach house, that's serenity.
So we were talking about trusting. You said trusting the process.
Trust the process.
Trust the process. So let me give you a quick update. We're here at my art space studio in downtown Raleigh, and Daryl's coming for a consultation. We met at the Innovation and Entrepreneurship Center here in downtown Raleigh, where I was doing a talk about the business of art. So this is part 2 of the previous video, and we were talking about trusting the process. And now we're going to get really specific into some questions Daryl has about building a career. And let's fire off a few questions. It's something really specific.
Really specific. Building your niche.
Building your niche. Okay. Now you said earlier that you worked in a couple of different kinds of styles, but you all working in paint.
Right.
Okay. I'm a firm believer in variety. My mother always taught me she said variety is the spice of life. And a lot of artists throughout history produce a lot of things, but historically they're known for maybe like 1 or 2 things.
Right.
But that's how history defines it, but that's not really how the creative process works. But from the building your brand or your reputation or building a following, I'm a firm believer in if you're going to do more than one thing, you build a whole body of that work.
Right.
So if you go back and look over the last 20 years, how many jazz paintings I've done, or how many landscapes and coastals, or heart paintings, or non-objective abstractions. Just huge bodies of this work. It's not like I did one here and one there and one there. So then it's like a scramble, but more so you build these definitive bodies of work that people go, oh, I'm right now really digging his such paintings, but I sure love these paintings. So because you have that variety, it always keeps your cash flow positive.
Right.
You're always able to be open and creative because you don't burn out on one thing. Like if somebody paints ballerinas all the time, they're sick of it. They can't take it anymore.
Right.
But if they got a variety, they're painting this and that.
But it seems like I've seen so many successful artists that like ballerinas. Like I can name one artist, like every painting he does looks the exact same.
Yeah, and that's called
that's boredom.
Well,
it's not just cubism or
yeah,
it's boredom.
I mean, I've been painting my jazz paintings for 20 years easily, and people know me as the guy that does jazz art. But there's a lot of people who collect all my landscapes, my nudes, my abstracts.
Right.
I mean, a wide range of stuff. Over here, I got a painting of a giant shark on a wall. I mean, just all.
But when you see jazz, like that's one thing I know. Like I can tell that's Eric McRay.
Yeah.
Like when I see the jazz, like, oh yeah, that's Eric McRay.
Yeah, and I built that image, and that's part of my persona. But the reality is, if you see any marketing stuff about me, I show me.
Right.
Because I'm the brand.
You are the brand. Yeah,
I am the entity.
Right.
And those things are a byproduct of me, and I try not to hem myself up where I can only produce one thing. And if that's the case, then I will basically starve to death if I don't keep doing that.
Because
so
everybody
you become
has
a prisoner.
different taste.
Yeah, and you become
so
a prisoner
to
that image.
Cheeseburgers, I'm missing all the people that want pizza.
Well, I mean, but the thing is, you want to produce things that you love.
Right.
Okay, you produce the images and the kind of art you enjoy and you want to see.
Right.
Like the musician who makes the music that he enjoys, the kind of stuff that he likes. So what I say to you is make your work, but then create bodies of work. So I'm going to produce 50 to 100 of these. 50 to 100 of those.
Right.
That way, that Daryl Council, he paints this, and maybe he paints that, and definitively those are the things he does.
Right.
Like I just started these new sushi paintings. Somebody said, well, that's not how I see you.
Right.
Now, 50 to 100 paintings later, they're going to be like, oh, that's the guy that did sushi.
Right.
But now in this person's head, I'm the jazz guy, but this person collected images of African American imagery.
Right.
So she liked my collages. She liked my jazz musicians.
Right.
Could care less about a landscape.
Right.
And other people, landscape.
But eventually, as they continue to be a collector of your work, they're going to see something else.
Correct.
Besides the bodies that they're buying.
Right.
And be like, oh, well, Eric did this, so I want that.
Sometimes, if it's still their taste. Now, I have people
Right.
who are real loyal and support and love art, and they have a little bit of everything because they have a home and multiple homes or whatever. So this stuff,
Right.
and they give it as gifts. So art's going all over the place.
Right.
Okay, so that's what I would say to you: is build bodies of work in different things. So if you're doing this, do so many of that, so many of this, so many of that. All right, what's your next question?
Pricing your work.
Pricing your work
Yourself, without jurors,
determining your pricing. Pricing is really, I price my art based off size, and popularity of subject matter. Like I can't ask as much for a nude of the same size as I can ask for a landscape.
Right.
Because more people want a landscape than a nude. But then at the same time, I could do a collage that may not be as commercially viable as, say, a landscape, but that collage has so much time and work and significance that I have to ask more for it.
Right.
So it's part of it is intuition. Some people sell art based a pricing structure per square inch. I guess I don't do it that way. I would, in a generic, I said, well, this size is this size is that price. And then that way I'm able to then gauge the popularity of one thing versus another.
Right.
So the same size.
So you have a base price, and then you kind of go off of this. Took me a little more. This is more intricate. A little bit more money.
So not everything's exactly the same price. Like you're
okay.
buying a bottle of soda or something.
Right.
But like, okay, this is more popular. This is less popular. I worked a little bit longer on this, but I can't get ridiculous.
Right.
I mean, I could do a piece of art the exact same size, and I did it in 10 hours, and another piece I did in 30 hours. Well, I can't triple the price because it took me longer to produce it.
Yeah, we get paid for our creativity, not our time.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not working for hourly wages.
Right.
I'm working for profits. I work off the basis of the value of my expertise.
Right.
So, that's how I gauge my pricing. So usually the best thing to do is start low. Don't be so low you're giving them away and losing money.
Right.
But you got to be able to turn profit over your materials and so forth. And then you gradually build a demand.
Yeah.
So if it's selling so fast you can't even keep them, obviously it's time to up prices.
When I first started, I had a ton of people really interested in all my artwork.
Mm-hmm.
But I was so holding on to these pieces. Like, I was like, they're so important to me that I'm pricing them so high that people weren't interested in it.
They weren't, okay.
Because they were like, whoa, that's a little more than I thought that would be.
And were their concerns reasonable, or was it just they were cheap?
Well, I think that they saw that I had just came out on the Instagram. They didn't know much about me. You know what I mean? So I just feel like once you're more established as an artist,
you could ask bigger prices.
You could ask bigger prices.
That's true.
It's just, and once you're, one person, a famous person has a piece of your work, your prices are going to go up a little bit more.
And I get it, but really I don't have a lot of famous people per se that own my work, but I have a lot of affluent people.
Well, that's what I mean. Yeah, influential.
Influential, but
which is more important than famous.
It's a lot of times celebrities just take your stuff and
right.
They throw it around somewhere. They don't really care. People, artists send, I sent Oprah a painting. Great, it's probably in the warehouse with all other paintings that artists sent Oprah.
Yeah,
so that's no big deal. Whatever.
Yeah.
So anyway, but so what I say to you is that price your work reasonably.
Yeah.
And get it selling, keep it going. I've seen artists who don't have a resume I have, and they get these massive prices, but their husband is a doctor. My wife's not a doctor.
Right.
I pay the bills in my house.
So
I have to take care of it. So I need steady cash flow.
Right.
Versus somebody just like, well, we sold this painting, now let's go on a cruise. It's not my play money.
Right. This is real.
It's real deal.
Life,
when my wife was home with 2 babies.
Right.
I was feeding and caring for everything.
Yeah.
For years.
Yeah.
Years.
Right.
So it's not like this is some kind of thing like, well, if it sells, whoopee.
Right.
I need to move work.
Right.
And so it's not based off my ego. It's based off market forces and what the value is of the work in a free market.
Right.
So that's you have to get your ego out of it and put your intellect in it.
Right. There you go.
And look at some real analytics and real responses to your work to determine, maybe that's a bit high, maybe that's too cheap.
Right.
That's where instinct got to come in, your gut.
Yeah.
Working the deal.
Yeah.
So, all right, next question.
Well, let's see. I don't know if it's really a question. It's just one thing I really learned from you that you may not know that I learned from you is like probably a year and a half ago, I watched one of your YouTube things and you've said it several times, prepare for your payday.
Yes.
But the thing that I'm thankful of
Yeah.
is that I was already in the process of doing that.
Good.
When I was just painting nonstop.
Mm-hmm.
And my wife was like, "Why you're buying all these canvases, all this paint? You hadn't really tried to step out here and sell any artwork." And I'm like, "Yeah, well, honestly, the way I feel is when I do, what if so many people like it, I don't have enough to sell?"
Bingo. You got it.
That's why every day I'm up at 3:00 in the morning painting.
Yeah. I wish I could be up that late. But
it's hard.
I got to get up at 6:30.
Well,
I'll
be right back up at 6:30.
Yeah, because baby got to school. Yeah, shoot, man.
I'm doing it. Like, I'm grinding.
Oh, man.
Like,
yeah. And see, brother, what's that guy, Damon Johns?
But I got to find more time to do the other besides the grind. I got to be able to get out here on the computer.
Okay, I just did a video, a vlog post about time management.
I watched it. Time management.
You got to break it into...
You got to schedule your days.
I'm
at that point.
Yeah, every day, every moment of my day is scheduled to a certain extent.
Right.
But the reality is, as you move through this experience, you got to take a third of your time for just creative process.
Right.
I spent a lot of time reading and studying and learning my craft and learning the business and getting inspiration, looking at videos, whatever. So part of it is the creative process. You gotta work and produce. Right. You got to do the unfun stuff like file taxes and
business.
I like to delegate that kind of stuff. That's you got to know about it. If you don't do it right, you get you a lot of trouble. I've been there. And then also it's just the marketing and sales. You got to be in folks' face. You got to talk to people. You got to shake hands. Not everything just selling stuff on a website. People do want to test drive a piece of artwork.
Yeah.
You look at this car online, but that's not sitting in the seat and feeling and says it. I was looking at buying a Cadillac. I was going to buy a Cadillac, right? I get in this Cadillac, man. That thing was tight on my thighs.
Yeah.
I'm not a little man. I'm like, good God, it's a Cadillac. Why am I squeezing into a Cadillac?
Right.
I thought I'd have room in there like I was sitting in somebody's living room.
Right.
Like old school Cadillac. I'm like, well, gee.
At least you didn't buy it off of just assuming that. Yeah.
I wasn't basing off a picture. And sometimes people want to come in and see the artwork and they want to do this. Ooh, that's nice. It's like touching a piece of furniture. Oh, honey, that feels nice. Oh, we got to get this couch.
Right.
Or you want to lay on the mattress. Oh, that feels good.
Right.
I mean, it's different than you buying dog food off Amazon.
Right.
So, certain things that, inexpensive prints and things, people quickly make purchase offline.
Yeah.
But you're talking about getting to some real money, unless you got a major name, people do want to see that stuff.
Yeah.
So you got to do that part of it. So you got to create, you got to market and sell, and then you got to do the business, day-to-day mechanics of business, the logistics stuff.
Right.
So back to that payday, you got to produce your work, and you got an ample amount of artwork. When I was in a magazine and waves of people were coming in from all the notoriety I was getting and all this publicity, there's times where I was like, gosh, darn it, I wish I didn't have that work at this exhibition over there, because I didn't have enough inventory here.
Right.
So I lost money. But I had another case where I had an exhibition at a gallery, had 20 paintings there, sold 14 of the 20 paintings.
Nice.
Cleaned the place out. Big check. People are like, Eric, what are you going to do? You sold all your jazz paintings. No, I had a reserve of another 20 that nobody knew about.
Right. And I can produce them when I get ready.
And they was like, I just pull them out, frame them, boom, I'm ready to go.
Right.
It's the thing about fighting a war on multiple fronts.
Yeah.
I remember doing an exhibition, 3 exhibitions in a month in 3 different places. So literally I was doing a art opening on Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night. 3 different bodies of work, at least 20 different pieces. You're talking about like 60 pieces of artwork, that easily. Plus work that was in multiple other galleries. So we're talking about probably easily 100+ pieces of artwork spread out in multiple places.
Right.
So I was selling work in my studio, selling to commercial galleries, some arts council, doing art opens in 3 different cities in different parts of the state.
Wow.
Back to back.
Yeah.
I was on tour, brother. I was
Nice.
making money, getting publicity, making connections. That is the heart of any business. Let me tell you, if you're a plumber, a candlestick maker, or whatever you do, if nobody knows about who you are, you will fail.
Right.
You're a chiropractor, then you're the best in town, but nobody knows you're over in that shopping center.
Yeah.
Your days are numbered.
Yep.
And if you have the attitude that you build it, they will come. No, they won't. You will build it, you will pay insurance, you will pay rent, and then you will go out of business.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, if you do not invite people, they will not come. You must
Right,
invite you must offer an invitation. When people show up at your house without an invitation, we're usually a little ill.
Yeah.
Nowadays.
But
Nowadays,
yeah.
it was common.
Right.
Come on in. No, don't do that now.
No.
Okay, so the thing is, you invite people. Come, join us.
Yeah.
Join me on this journey. Experience this. This is delicious. Boy, I can fix this. I can improve the quality of your life. So you have to give people a reason to want your product or service.
Right.
And you got to give people a reason to invest in you.
Right.
Invest in me.
Yeah.
There's plenty of talented people out here.
Right. Right.
How many doctors and dentists are in Raleigh-Durham?
Exactly.
And I'm sure some guy closing up shop right now because he thought he could coast and I'm here.
I'm here. Yeah. I can be a doctor too. Right?
I got a medical degree.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I bet he's closing up and got to go work for somebody else if he's trying to start his own establishment.
Yep.
So the thing is, you as an entrepreneur, and never forget that, the history from Greco-Roman society to today is you, even if you work for somebody doing stuff, you're still an entrepreneur. You have to have an entrepreneur's mindset because the artist is the one that can work 24/7.
Right.
You can produce, sell, build your brand, sell your product 24/7. There's the internet. You have places, you do festivals and art galleries, arts councils. There's so many ways to get your stuff out there.
Right.
And anybody, I got a friend of mine, he has a welding shop. This guy's doing festivals and he's making merchandise. He'll build a fire escape on the side of your building, and then he makes little crafty things out of metal.
Oh, wow.
He's got depth and breadth. He's got product. He's got service. He's got small and inexpensive, massively expensive stuff.
Right.
So you build your business so you can win.
Right.
That's back to the initial, we talked about the big net.
So I shouldn't feel cheap at all when I'm doing prints. I used to want to be
No.
like, oh, I don't do prints because I want to be...
The marketplace has changed.
Right.
Years ago, printing was very expensive. We had offset lithography. There was only a limited way you could do. You had to print 500 to 1,000 of these things. But now you can print small runs with giclées. You get, printers that are really high quality inks that'll last. I've got prints that I printed in 1987 and the color still held up.
Wow.
Okay, so how much better do you think color is now in 2019 inks?
Yeah.
So if you can print quality stuff at a reasonable price and give people what they want, it's not a bad thing. But here's the wisdom that I learned. Prints are like having a fine restaurant. Now, if you have a vending machine in the lobby of some place and you're walking through and you say, I'm starving, let me grab a bag of chips and a soda.
Right.
Knock that edge off. I don't eat chips, but for the sake of the story.
Right.
Okay. But if you're stupid enough to put that vending machine in the lobby of your restaurant and we're in there trying to sell steaks and lobsters and somebody gets a Snicker bar coming in the door, you cut your own throat.
Right.
So bottom line is, if you put prints where in a line of somebody willing to buy high-end artwork, and now all of a sudden, come on in, ma'am. And I got somebody coming to pick up some artwork. So if somebody comes in with the intent to buy original artwork and you're trying to sell them cheap prints, you made the mistake.
Right, right.
You put a vending machine in the lobby of your high-end restaurant.
That's why I always do limited edition prints for certain paintings.
Yeah, and it's a way you do that, and that's a savviness and understanding of the marketplace. Excuse me, I got a client here, ma'am. Look behind the door as well, and you can see some of my paintings there too.
Okay.
And so we're going to wrap up.
You take your stand.
We're doing a vlog post right here, so we're actually videotaping this. We'll put on YouTube, Instagram, all that good stuff. So, and so that's the thing about that whole understanding how to build your business.
Right.
And that diversification is going to be a key, as well as being able to focus in and find your niche in your market and be able to have a versatility. We have product and service.
So that is my niche, is my variety.
Yeah, but don't be so broad. You're just like a swamp.
Right. Yeah. Do series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A river
Works
has
for
force
art, yeah.
because there's boundaries.
Right. Right.
A swamp just lies there.
Right.
So you don't want to be a swamp as an
Yeah.
artist. It's just like blah. What is he? I don't know. It's just a mess.
Right. Right.
You know, I had somebody tell me some guy was hating on me. I'm gonna do a vlog about haters. This kid was like, "You're a wannabe Damien Hirst." He was bashing me on Instagram. I was like, "Thanks." I said, "Man, you compare me to Damien Hirst? Man, I didn't know I game like that." They're like, "So you want to be LeBron James?" Whoa.
Yeah, that's
It's worse people to be compared to,
Yeah,
So the bottom line is I have my vision of how I will produce my art, and I'm
Right.
implementing it, and it's working.
right.
So you find your vision and your objective, and you implement.
Yeah, and I guess throw ego out the door.
Ego is for self-preservation,
Right.
because ego is there when somebody tells you you're inadequate or you're insignificant or you have no value.
Right.
You got to have enough intestinal fortitude to stand up to criticism. Some
Right.
people can't handle that because
Right.
the art's so personal.
Right.
Okay, but at the same time, your ego can't be some kind of raging beast
Right. Right.
where people are, oh man, that dude's coming, let's get out of here.
Yeah.
You know, you
yeah,
got to help. You have a mental health,
Right.
an emotional health, a spiritual balance
Right,
and
right.
health. So you got to have enough ego to sustain, but not so much ego that you're insufferable.
Right.
So check yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
My mama was always like, keep your feet on the ground. Keep
Yeah.
your feet on the ground. She said, if you have your feet on the ground, I'm going to knock you in the head and knock you down to the ground.
Yeah.
She meant that too.
Yeah, I know that's
Because she wasn't going to let me implode,
Right. Right.
but my success destroy me.
Yeah.
So that's what you have to do is find, you're already there. You just have to figure out how to move more work, and that's just a process. And I would suggest you try to work bigger.
Yeah, that's what I'm just trusting the process.
Yeah, trust the process.
And know that I can't, just like as a baby, ain't no baby came out running.
And the seed germinates.
Right.
So we're gonna wrap up there. This is
Appreciate your
Daryl.
time,
Daryl,
man.
hey man, thank you, man.
Yeah.
Glad you came by here. And then
Absolutely.
so Daryl, check him out on Instagram. Once again, what's his
DCJ Paints.
DGD.
CJ Paints. Daryl Council Jr. Paints.
Gotcha on Instagram.
And Fly Dragon Arts. #.
Sweet. Go buy some of his work. Show your support. Show some love. Brother's got a lot of great stuff. He's really talented. And we're going to share these posts on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn. Boy, we're going to get it out there, man.
Nice.
So, and then also follow us, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. If this stuff has been a blessing to you, I don't think this is just about art, but this is about purpose. This is about life. This is about business. And we're going to make all this stuff available and change some lives and to help people get out of that bondage, the boxes they put themselves in. You know, most limitations are self-imposed, so choose not to be limited. Be the best you. I put a sign up in my studio that says, I don't care what you think. If you see it right there, I don't care. Because at a certain point, you just got to tell people, I don't care what you think. I got to do what I got to do. So take care, and God bless.